Hello guys, my name is Batsu Diaz and today we're going to talk about Beyond Listen and Repeat, Pronunciation Teaching Materials and Theories of Second Language Acquisition. This is chapter 16 from the book Methodology in Language Teaching. This chapter I'm going to start talking about our 8 main points. In 1980s, researchers called more a top-down approaches to pronunciation teaching emphasizes more in meaningful aspects of phonology and connects speech rather than practice. Over the half-past centuries, pronunciation has grew in providence with the rise of empiric method and audiolingualism, only to be pushed against to the sidelines with communicative language teaching and the natural approaches. Pronunciation teaching and theory. Can pronunciation be taught? Teaching of pronunciation really on two basic assumptions when acquiring a second language phonology. First, based on critical period hypothesis, claims it's impossible for adults to acquire a native-like pronunciation. Second is based on Cashin's work, insists that pronunciation is an acquired skill and therefore cannot be learned. Studies have supported that children have an advantage over adults in learning a pronunciation of second language. However, such studies have failed to provide that it is impossible for adults to acquire native-like pronunciation. A Wiley study found that adults were actually superior to children in areas of pronunciation and sound discrimination, at least on the first stages of learning. The only subject into study the definition as acquiring native-like pronunciation are the teenagers. Listen and repeat, phonology and behaviorism. Listening and repetition seems to have a two-way street. Focused listening can provide oral production and practice, and oral production can improve auditory perception. This is actually one of the oldest methods of teaching pronunciation, one that involves imitating drills and reading out loud. Drills have an important place in teaching as a means to help articulation become more automatic, and it seems to have a step forward more meaningful in communication practice. Interlanguage phonology, the extent in which interlanguage phonology is affected by the first learner transferred and the related value of the providing first language respective pronunciation practice. Monology and monitor. This one since 1979 after Morley Classic Improving Spoke English, there has been an increased attention in pronunciation materials to training your students to monitor their production through the teaching formal rules of feedback and reflective activities. Communication and contextualism. This is perhaps the most criticized aspect of the pronunciation teaching materials for releasing on decontextual language and lack of grounding in the realities of actual communication. More than a quarter of our activities are discriminating and repetition drills using decontextual words, phrases, and sentences. The other 25 activities are reading out loud, and less than the 2% activities in the book actually involve meaningful interaction and the transfer information between one or two sentences. Psychological and sociological factors. These are two aspects of pronunciation teaching that have been ignored in teaching materials. It's very important to ask our learners what is their interest in learning a second language, because learners who expect to have a large amount of interaction with native speakers in a social or business professional context will have different needs and expectations from learners who plan just to use it with non-speakers. In conclusion with this chapter, teaching pronunciation will still remain on many characteristics from traditional audiolinguistic tests, but we have incorporated more meaningful and communicative practices, increasing emphasis on raising and self-monitoring, and finding ways to dealing with psychological aspects of pronunciation training, integrating confidence buildings and reflected activities into our courses. And that is all for today, guys. Thank you.